Hello, Mary Mead. So today I want to discuss a topic that has come up a bit recently in news articles when it comes to occultists and witches. Although, of course, witches are occultists, but yes. And that is when people who are Wiccans, various forms of New Agers, follow various occult paths, and so on and so forth, demand to have their rights as a sincerely held religious belief. And there is a lot of conflict with the mainstream because there's really because they don't get how these religions really work. And by that I mean, excuse me, in most mainstream religions, there are a set dogma. You can basically have a look at a list of do's and don'ts within that religion. If you do X, Y, and Z, then you are doing it right. If you do C, A, and H over here, then you are a horrible person and will be terribly, terribly punished. However, most quote-unquote occult religions don't do it that way. It is much more individual. So what has a profound religious significance to one practitioner doesn't necessarily do so to another. One example can be, for example, pagans who choose to be vegetarian. There's definitely a lot of witches who follow the idea of the Wiccan Rede, who choose to be vegetarian and believe that the idea of harming none commands them to not eat meat. I don't agree with that. I eat meat. I feel that basically you can't take it that literally because things in nature eat one another, and plants also have a soul and a life. You have to eat something. But for many people, that is a very sincerely held religious belief that you shouldn't harm animals in any way, shape, or form, and you shouldn't eat meat, and then that becomes a big part of the religious practice for them. But it isn't so for everyone within that religion, and that is something that I think is very difficult for people of mainstream religions to get. Because let me mention two particular cases that brought this to my mind, and that this is a topic that perhaps should be discussed more. That is the one of them was a Thelemite in prison who felt that eating a kosher diet was an important part of his following his true will and doing the great work. And he had to fight tooth and nail to get it, because people said, yeah, but show me where in your religious text it says particularly you need to eat this particular kind of diet. And of course he couldn't do that, because there isn't anything in Thelemite that says you have to eat this kind of diet. It was something that he, for himself, felt was needed for his personal development. Now, luckily, he eventually got that, but there's a lot of others that don't, because they can't show in the various religious texts. Hell, a lot of these religions doesn't have a particular religious text. Telema at least have that. You can say, here's the writings of Aleister Crowley. We even have a rating system for basically the class of documents, for how much importance are put on them. So yeah, at least they have there's that. But for a lot of us, we don't have that. For example, Wiccans, which is the closest one to me, though I have been trained quite a bit within telematic thought. There isn't a Wiccan Bible You could say you have the writings of Gerald Gardner, but he only began it. There's a lot of people that has then continued the tradition. And there's various traditions within there that has different ideas. So you don't have a Bible that you can say it says there that's such and such an important. And it's very individual. And that's a problem because we need to find a way to make people understand that in a lot of these religions, what is profound to that spiritual practice vary with the individual. The other example is a young high school girl who is terminally ill with, I think it's neurological disorder. I don't remember exactly the name of her illness. But anyway, she considers herself to be Wiccan and believe that body modifications is an important part of her religious expression. And both to symbolize her fight against her illness and as a way to bring in basically wear a symbol of healing, which for her is a silver barbel, and as a way to have basically a focus for her magic, she wears a lip, basically a barbel in the lip, so basically have a little silver bead that goes through her lips. And it's sorted in place, so it's never meant to be removed. And she felt this is a huge part of her religious practice, her religious expression. And her school demands that she'll take this out. And I mean, even a lot of Wiccans were complaining that no, she's just follow it, she's just saying whatever she needs to keep her jewelry. But here's the thing. None of the quote-unquote important things in Wicca are some sort of commandment that lie down. Even the Wiccan Rede is just a poem that a lot of us have accepted. There are no laid down rules, and there are quite a bit of precedence for this, because several quite famous and quite important Wiccan authors do use body modification as a spiritual expression. And a lot of the culture that Gerald Gardner got an idea for his religion from do practice ritual body modification. So there's every reason for her to claim that for her, that barbel has significant religious meaning. And that it's just as fair that she should be able to wear that as for a Muslim girl to wear a hijab. Or a Jewish boy to wear what do they call them in English? Those caps that Jewish men wear. But the difference is that a Jewish boy and a Muslim girl can point to religious texts and traditions written down and say, here, it says here that I should wear this. See, it says there. While this Wiccan girl can't. And I mean, I was surprised how many Wiccans even wasn't on her side. Because they, well, she can't point at some sort of religious demand. Yeah, but that's not the point of a basically sincerely held religious belief. It's not the point of what's basically important to you spiritually, whatever or not it says that your sky god is gonna smite you if you don't do it. Then I think we have lost the idea of what a religious practice should be. It's basically the point is that for her, that barbel symbolized something very important and spiritual. And she used it as part of her spiritual practice. It was important to her spiritual path. That should be important. Not whatever or not there is some sort of commandment to do so. And I believe that the occult society needs to be more vocal about this to make it more understood that not all religions have a set of rules, a set of ideas that everybody should follow, that a lot of religions have a lot of room for personal expression. And I think that to be able to get our rights accepted, we first of all have to not attack one another for that, because really none of us have any right to say that another person's spiritual beliefs are bullshit. And I think that it's much better when somebody says, that's my sincerely held religious belief, it's my belief that I'm going to do this, that this has a spiritual meaning to me. It's much better to basically accept that than to basically try to find some way this person could be lying. Is it possible she just said that because she wanted to wear her barbel? Yeah, but I tend to say that she's not hurting anybody else with it. A lot of places in the United States, at least, if somebody claims it to be a sincerely held spiritual belief, they can discriminate against people. They can treat people who are gay, people of other religions, people who are transsexual, quite a variety of people like shit, and claim, yeah, well, no, but it's my sincerely held religious belief. Then why the fuck can't a girl say, you know what, it's my sincerely held spiritual belief that the piece of jewelry I wear through my lip help me heal, and it helps me focus in my spiritual energy and is important for me religiously. She isn't hurting anybody else with this. She is causing zero harm to anyone by wearing her piece of jewelry. So why is that suspect? While somebody not wanting to serve somebody because of who they love and deny them service at a restaurant or toss them out of a barber shop or something like that, that should be completely okay. That I don't get. I would be much more skeptical of somebody making a claim to be able to hurt somebody else than somebody making a claim that affects only them. If she had made some sort of claim that said that no, I have to be weighted on hand and foot and somebody has to stand there and cool me down with fans, some Roman slave girl style, and because that's my spiritual belief, then I would be skeptical. Somebody saying, you know what, I believe part of my belief is spiritual body modification, so I should, by that, since we have religious freedom, be allowed to wear my lip piercing. Yeah. I mean, why should somebody be so upset at this? She's hurting no one. And there's every reason to believe that she's telling the truth, that this has a spiritual aspect for her. And I think that a lot of us too are sort of lost in this track, that the only valid religious reasons to do something is the one that are prescribed in some sort of ancient book. I mean, take Muslim women. I completely support their right to wear whatever they want on their faces and on their heads. I don't care. But there they can point at the Quran and say, here is what it says about head coverings, here it says on head coverings, hear it what is said on face value and say this, so this is a religious commandment. But for me, part of my my spiritual belief is that you have to have a practice so that it increases your spiritual power. It helps you walk your spiritual path to cultivate these energies through regular practice. But it doesn't say so in my... I can't point to some ancient text and say it says that. But why should then my belief that it is an enormous spiritual benefit to me to do my daily rituals be any less important than a Muslim woman's right to wear a hijab? Because even if she can find a commandment to do so in her book, and I can't. Or take the example of a Thelemite. Whatever they find that, you know what, this is what I need to do. I mean, of course, if it's a prison and they say that, no, I need to wear weapons because that's in line with my true will, then of course you can't do that. There has to be some bounds of reason. If you say that, no, my sincerely held spiritual belief says I have to sacrifice goats every day, you can't have that on the town square. There's a lot of things that, but when it's something that doesn't hurt anyone, a man asking to have kosher meals, or somebody who's vegetarian who says it's on religious grounds that I'm vegetarian, it shouldn't matter if that... What drives me crazy is that if a Buddhist says that I am vegetarian on religious grounds, here is what ancient texts of my religion says about being a vegetarian. Boom, boom, boom. He will be accepted at that, and if he's in prison or if it's... chances are he will be given a vegetarian diet immediately. However, if a Wiccan says, I interpret the Wiccan Rede to mean that that eating meat is harming someone, so I don't eat meat. Or, for example, a New Ager that says, you know what, I think that eating meat lowers my vibrations, so I don't want to do that. It's part of my spiritual belief. They might have to fight and fight and fight and fight to get that. That drives me crazy, because a spiritual belief, if you have the idea that a spiritual belief should be respected, of course, within the bounds of reason, then it shouldn't matter if that spiritual belief comes from a book often delivered with a threat that if you don't do this, you will be tortured for eternity. It shouldn't matter if it comes from that or if it comes because you, through insight, inspiration, or just because you damn well think this will work for you spiritually, so you have decided it for yourself. It shouldn't matter if it's A or B. It's still a spiritual belief. And it should matter. Here is what I don't think you should be able to do with the spiritual belief. Discriminate against people. I think that if you own a business, you shouldn't be allowed to discriminate against someone based on your spiritual belief. Here's what I think you should be allowed to do. Wear a jewelry. Don't eat meat. Meditate. Wear a particular religious symbol. Cover your hair. Have a daily religious practice. Whatever that you can do reasonably within your circumstances, that doesn't harm anybody else, nobody should have any right protesting against that. And an occultist's very personal religious beliefs should be as respected as what religious belief comes from the commandments of a book. And I think we need to make more noise about this so that there's more knowledge about it. That for a lot of occult religions, we don't have a lot of universal commandments. We make our own based on our own spiritual paths. And that is as valid as with somebody who has gotten their spiritual beliefs from an ancient tradition or a book. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Have a great day and blessed be.